Seireitei, a Bleach fandom community podcast brought to you by... Wait a minute. Did Shinji write these?
What do you mean?
Everything's upside down and back to front. I can't read it. My name is Lethan, and today I'm joined by Nomi.
Heya!
So this is our spoiler episode that we do at the end of each of the seasons of Bleach that we watch. So this is your big warning to those listening. If you are watching Bleach for the first time and you do not want any spoilers, please vacate the listening of this episode right now. You have been warned. We will try to stay clear of Thousand Year Blood War spoilers because that's not been animated yet, but everything else is free range and open, so consider yourselves warned. Nomi, how have you been?
I've been great. Yeah. Been good. You?
Aye, been good. It's been really good. We watched the Bleach musical, the third musical last night. I say last night for poor Louise in the server, like DQ. She woke up at blinking 5 a.m. or something, 4:30 in the morning, Australian time to watch it.
Yeah, bless her. Dedication.
That is dedication. That is dedication. And I think it was your sister's first time watching one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. She
What did
really
you
enjoyed
think?
it.
Good. Oh, yes. So for anybody listening that didn't know, by the way, Bleach musicals are a thing. Go look
Yeah.
them up. They're all on YouTube. Feel free to have a couple of drinks before you put one on.
Yeah, and just revel in what is just singing, random fighting, and cute moments.
Yeah.
Some of them are like really cute.
I mean, the great thing about the musical is that it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, it kind of knows it's a bit ridiculous. And so some of the jokes that they do in it are just so funny. Like, they're so funny. Oh, yeah. Anyway, right, so, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about some of the spoiler episode content. There's been a lot that happened. Do you have any glaring things that you want to dive in and discuss?
I suppose the most glaring issue that I had that I really wanted to just talk about, and I'm going to be skirting a little bit around Thousand Year Blood War, but I'm not going to be going into huge major detail that it's going to be game-changing and life-ending. I'm not going to spoil any major bits. Okay. But I just want to talk a little bit about a fight between Mayuri and Ashida. So, during this fight, Mayuri versus Ashida, we learned that Mayuri basically took the dead bodies of some Quincy's to experiment on. However, in a few seasons down the line, we learned that when a Quincy dies, their body is not recovered. It kind of like disintegrates and is returned to where Quincy's originally came from.
Okay.
And so that it just brings in this huge big question of how the heck did Mayuri get these bodies when there shouldn't have been a body in the first place?
And I think, yeah, I mean, look, Bleach isn't perfect. Just like any fandom, like we could easily poke holes in Harry Potter for days, especially with the time turners and stuff, you know? Yeah. Like, no media, I think, is fully sealed, especially if it is like a soft world building, which Bleach is. Bleach is not a hard world building. Like, if you want hard world building, you look at Lord of the Rings, right? Which is very grounded, and everything can be explained because of the mechanics and the languages behind that world, because it is so vast, but everything is established. Kubo created a soft world building in Bleach, and soft world building's great. That's my preference because it's a lot more open. There's a lot more flexibility between all the things that can happen. However, soft world building does tend to leave you open to a lot more criticism and feedback of, well, this thing happened here like this, so why didn't it happen later down the line like that? And I think that's something that is quite prevalent in Bleach. And I think this is one of those moments. I mean, we could sit here and we could say, you know, like, maybe Mayuri had a way of retaining, like, maybe he knew that this is what happened to those bodies because of research that had been done before. Because Quincy's have been around for a while, so I'm pretty sure they've died at some point. So the Soul Reapers probably knew that the bodies disintegrated. So maybe Mayuri, like, his poison or whatever it is he uses, maybe it stops the Reshi from being able to break away in that form and returning to its original source. So you could explain it like that, but because it isn't explained to us, we're left making up fan theories and headcanons.
Yeah. And I think as well, a lot of the time, we're seeing stuff in the anime
Mm-hmm.
that is maybe foreshadowing something that's not been written yet, because the anime was started being animated and started being put into production before the manga had even finished.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of conjecture there as well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. But that would be my only explanation for that point, is that Miyuri knew that that's what would happen to their bodies, and ergo had something prepared
Yeah,
to
I mean,
counter
he's
it.
Mayori. He's always like 3 steps ahead of everybody, isn't he?
Well, is he 3 steps ahead of Aizen and Urahara? I don't quite think
No,
so,
no.
but he is.
In terms of, don't tell him that, because
No, because
he
he'll
likes
kill
to
me.
think he is, but he's not.
I mean, again, like, we have no evidence to back any of these claims up. I just, in my head, assume that Aizen and Urahara are kind of like steps way ahead of Mayuri. But I'm happy to discuss that with anybody who wants to at me on Twitter and be like, you're wrong, here's why. So the other thing that I have, and I'm bringing this one up just now because I think it falls in line with yours in the sense of that soft world building having left gaps in
Mm.
parts of the what we're seeing. And again, I know this is something that I said, or we spoke about very briefly previous episodes, with the Hokyoku's timeline being inserted into Rukia, where I was explaining I think she's been exposed to it much earlier than when she went into her Gigai. And the reason for that is because, like, in my watch through with Swift, I've gotten beyond the Hukamundo, like we're now well into the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc, right? Which is the only the only non-canon bit that we've watched. But Rukia will be going up against an Espada, and that Espada had consumed Kayan. And we find out from the memories of Kayan, that Kayan helped Rukia achieve her Shikai and was training her with her Shikai.
Mm-hmm.
So if he had done this, why didn't we see her use that when she was facing off against this hollow that was attacking Ichigo in episode 1? And this is why I still think she was exposed to the Hokyoku way earlier than we previously thought. Because she just goes down onto the ground and she's like basically useless. And she doesn't even try any other techniques apart from a tiny little bit of Kido and like trying to stab the bloody hollow once with her sword, which is nothing like what we see of her once she gets her powers back, and it's nothing like the warrior that Kayan trained. It could be that, maybe Kubo just forgot about the timeline and was like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, Kayan helped train her Shikai. It could be that. Or it could be that she was actually exposed to the Hokyoku a lot earlier than we thought.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of times where you're watching and you think Rukia could have done so much better than she could have, but
Mm-hmm.
mainly the anime and mainly in filler episodes where they probably don't even know what Rukia's
Capable of.
Shikai capable of and what her Shikai is.
Mm-hmm.
But you do think that it does paint Rukia as this person who isn't capable of what she is capable of, and she is
Yeah.
capable of so much.
Mm-hmm.
And in the earlier episodes, we don't see that.
Yeah. And this is why my headcanon, or one of my headcanons, is that the Hokyoku was exposed to her a lot earlier. Like maybe Urahara was hovering around like a bit of a bad smell and was wafting this in her general direction to see how she would respond to it. And once he realizes, she's not going to cark it, I can just pop this fully inside her.
And I mean, there's so many opportunities in which he could have done that, because when he
Yeah.
was in the second division, he was in the Rukon the whole time, so he could have done this way back when Rukia was before she'd even met Renji.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she could have been exposed to it even sooner than that.
Mm.
But then she would have been able to use her Shikai and everything at that point because she would have.
Oh yeah,
So I think it's when she first went to the world of the living, potentially.
potentially, yeah.
But again, it could just be that Kubo fucking forgot and then tripped himself up by saying, yeah, Kayan helped her train, and this is how Kayan knew about her Shikai and knows her abilities. And we're like, yeah, but episode 1 though, Kubo.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Unless Ruki was just like so stricken with this is her first time in the world of the living, this is her first hollow, not exactly sure what she can and cannot do.
This isn't her first hollow though. We saw her go up against a hollow that thing with Kayan. So,
Well, at first hollow in the world of the living.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they do those training exercises out in the world of the living and stuff as well, though, don't they? So I think we're grasping at straws for Kubo's sake here. I think he maybe potentially just tripped up there.
Yeah.
And as the risk with soft world building is, if you bring in elements later on, and I know that Kubo has shown us, absolutely he can lay a great foundation and then bring something up later that's a twist. But if you're going to bring a twist out of midair, and I've seen elements of that with Kubo, and I think one of the other ones that I'm still a little bit iffy on, but even although I can see it, like there's so many reasons as to why, but there's just a couple that keep tripping me up, and that is Ishin being Shinigami himself, which we're going to find out in the next couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, right, okay, but like that just makes him an even worse parent.
Yeah, there's so much surrounding Ishin that I can't wait to get into as well. Like when you're watching back the episodes, there's just so much to him that you're thinking, yeah, he really is a bad parent. He could have said things before.
And I don't necessarily think that was pulled out of anybody's arse, because there's hints to that. And without going into too much spoilers, the fact that, like, we know that Ichigo looked like a previous person in the Soul Society, and there was a lot of stuff surrounding that, so that was foreshadowing for something. And then the fact that Ichigo is so powerful, where did that power come from? So there has to be a reason behind him being that powerful, because Rukia, he only took some of Rukia's spiritual pressure. So yeah, I think there was elements that hinted at Ishin being, involved in this world in some way. But I'm also like, yeah, but yeah. Anyway, it's also the fact that in the manga, like not even in the anime, but in the manga, Ishin walks into the room when Rukia is there in soul form and doesn't even bat an eyelid at her. Like, doesn't even look at her. And yeah, maybe he's mentally trained and prepared himself to not respond anytime, these are around him, but I'm still like, And then there is that argument of, well, most of his powers were diminished, so maybe at that point in time he couldn't actually see Rukia, and then he develops them back later. Like, what is the time scale for that? How long does it take for a Shinigami like Ishin to get his powers back? But anyway.
I wonder if then it would tie into the Hogoku.
Maybe.
Because the Hogoku is the will, like it wills things. It gives you the I can't even think of the words I'm trying to say. But it's like it being around the Hogoku wills things into existence. So being around Rukia, even though he couldn't see Rukia then, being around her and being exposed to that Hogoku slowly brings his powers back.
That's true. See, that's another problem I have with the Hogoku, is that wills things into existence. Well, what about fucking Rukia? I'm pretty sure she would have willed her powers into existence several times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I see what you're saying. I also thought maybe it's maybe Ichigo is so fucking powerful that he's become like a battery charger for all the people around him, and it just like recharges all their spiritual pressure, and that's how obviously Orihime and Chad ended up in the states that they're in. Maybe that happened to his dad. He rubbed off his dad enough. Maybe that's why his dad was attacking him all the time, just to get the flare up in his spiritual pressure.
Yeah. I mean, that one would also explain how like Karen starts getting stronger even as the seasons we've watched progress. Like she starts being able to see them, and then she helps out with Don Kanoji and the Karakura gang.
Yeah, I mean there is things there that you can explain away, but sometimes I'm just like, it would have been nice if Kubo laid a little bit more groundwork for something and a little bit less up in the air-ism for something.
Mm-hmm.
There is something that's going to happen in Thousand Year Blood War, and see when it happens, I have so much to say about it.
Yeah.
I have so much to say about it because I still don't see it. I
We're
still
gonna need like
can't
2-hour
see it.
episodes.
What was that?
We're gonna need like 2-hour episodes.
We are, honestly, we really are. The good thing is I reckon it's going to be like, what, an episode released a week or something,
Yeah.
right? That's probably about that's about the usual schedule. So, like, watching that, and then if we could put out an episode, we might, well, this is something we can discuss, but if we're doing an episode every 2 weeks, then we'll stick to that schedule, but we might do an episode a week, and that would give us more talking time. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Because we don't even know, like, how many seasons we're going to get. Because this is a whole arc. This is, like, a third of the Bleach manga. I don't think people realise, like, I don't think most, well, it's not a full third, but it's, like, almost a third. Okay, it's, like, almost a third of the Bleach manga.
Yeah.
It's a huge portion of it.
It is. Yeah.
How many seasons is that? It's got to be more than one season. That's got to be, like, 2 or 3.
Especially because if you think this whole arc that we've just watched is 3 seasons.
Exactly.
And Thousand Year Blood War is probably double that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm saying I'm hopeful for a minimum of 2 to 3 seasons. If they're, I mean, like, they could, I mean, to be fair, right? Okay, we've got pacing issues right now, so I'm probably confident saying about 3 seasons because we've got pacing issues with the current, and this is something we're really going to see going into Hukamundo arc, where, like, it's clear the anime is just dragging shit out for the manga to print. Whereas we don't have that issue. So I am really looking forward to how well paced and balanced the Thousand Year Blood War is going to be in comparison to everything that we've seen before.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, talking of the Hogyoku, Aizen just looking so surprised when he pulls it out of Rukia and saying, "Oh, it's so small." Whereas at this point, hasn't he already created one himself, so he knows exactly what it looks like?
Has he created one himself? I must have missed this.
Yeah, because that's how the whole. I mean, we'll go into more of it in like the next couple of seasons, but the whole Arancars and Espadas.
Of course! That was one of my questions I was going to ask, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, at this point, he's already created one because, I mean, I'm definitely going to dip into a huge major spoiler here, but Gein's whole motivation for everything that he's been doing is because Aizen has already created a Hogyoku.
Wow.
I just blew your mind.
Yeah, I must have missed most of this. So, Aizen takes something from Rangiku, right?
Yeah.
A piece of her soul or something, and I'm guessing he uses whatever it was that he took from her, as well as I'm sure he's taken loads of other things from other people to create. Is that what he was doing? Is that where that part of that storyline comes from?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So maybe he knew how to create one, but he didn't know how to stabilize it as well as the one that Urahara created, which is why he needed the one that Urahara created. Because why else would he need two?
Yeah, I think, if I'm remembering rightly, they're both incomplete Hogyokus and combined together create the full Hogyoku.
Gotcha.
Like, Kisuke's has issues and flaws, and Aizen's has issues and flaws, but together they make a perfect. Like, two wrongs actually make a right in this situation.
The yin and yang thing coming into play again, isn't it?
Yeah, the two sides and the twinning and everything. Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism. But yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So, do we get to see what Aizen's one looks like then?
Oh, thanks, Zach.
We're frantically Googling.
Yes. Aizen's Hogyoku. Two Hogyoku are known to exist. The first invented by Aizen and the other by Kisuke. Ultimately, Aizen merged his orbs with the latter's, forming a single. Unless I got that right. Yes, we do. In a little glass jar. When he takes the bit from Rangiku and everything.
Okay.
Because it's his Hogyoku that turns everybody's favorite group into what they are.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. One of my questions I had written down was how did he have the ability to do that before he got the Hogyoku, but you've just answered it.
Yep.
There we go. I need to pay more attention going through this. I do need to pay more attention. To be fair, because do we get that in the Turn Back the Pendulum arc then?
Yes.
Right, I'm going to fucking rewatch Turn Back the Pendulum just purely because
it's the best arc
it's
ever.
the best arc you can get on Bleach, yeah. Like, if you want to talk about beautiful pacing, and just like it's got that perfect blend of just simple, but then
it's
giving
only
us
12
answers.
episodes long, but it's the most perfect 12 episodes ever.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the podcast listeners are going to be sick of my voice by the end of these 12 episodes, because you can bet I'll be there for every single one of them.
I think it's going to be a fight between all the hosts to see who can do the Turn Back the Pendulum episodes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is notoriously one of Bleach's absolute singularly best mini arcs. It is phenomenal.
Which is ironic, considering when I first watched it, I thought it was a filler. Because it's randomly interjected halfway through the Winter War. I was like, what is this filler? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for my younger me. Didn't know what they were missing out on, you know.
Yeah. My goodness, yeah, that's true. That's true. And you know, I always there's a story that happens partway through Thousand Year Blood War. Can I mention the name of the chapters, or is that still? Do you think that's spoilery?
It depends on the name, because some of them can be quite spoilery.
I don't think it is. So
okay.
It's called. I'm sure it's called Everything But the Rain.
Oh yeah.
Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I always get confused between that and Turn Back the Pendulum. Like, the two lines between those two sometimes blur in my head.
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking forward to that as well. That's going to be good.
Yes. Because that's a good one. And again, the rain symbolism that we've already spoken about comes into play.
So good. It's so good. Oh, see if Bleach doesn't come back with, like, anytime we talk about the rain, all I can hear in the background of my head is the Nothing Can Be Explained soundtrack, because that seems to play whenever that symbolism's in place. But, like, if we have to get the old return of the soundtrack, and we were talking about this in the server actually the other day, when I was like, see that first episode, or like the last episode we get of Bleach, like, see if they do the intro song, Asterix.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh my! I think we all will. I don't think you'll be alone.
Oh god! Like, I'm gonna get so fucking emotional when I start hearing all these tunes. But I hope they don't go with like a whole new. Like, I hope we get some new songs in the soundtrack. We obviously don't want it to be stale, but like, I hope they don't stray away from the classics that have always been woven throughout every Bleach episode.
Yes. Yeah.
I could talk about the music in Bleach for weeks, so you're probably best to move on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of Turn Back the Pendulum then.
Go for it.
We had, if we turn our minds back to a couple of episodes ago when we had Ikkaku and Iba Tetsuzaemon, the lieutenant of the 7th Division, talking, and Iba's mother gets brought up.
Yes.
And we thought it was interesting because there was like a little bit of wording differences between the anime and the manga that made it wonder if his mother was a captain or if she just expected him to be a captain.
Mm-hmm.
But this woman, we can now explain who she is. This woman is actually named Chikane Iba, Iba being the last name. And she is the former lieutenant of the 3rd Division. And she is scary.
Is she?
She is scary. The captain of the 3rd Division, not Geen, but the captain before, is absolutely terrified of her. And it's hilarious in the sense that I always have this headcanon when he comes back, because, I mean, it's a spoiler episode, so I can tell you guys it's Rose who's what advised. When he comes back, he's also terrified of Tetsuzaemon, which is absolutely hilarious. But the fact that Ikkaku and Tetsuzaemon are talking about Chikane and being terrified of her, then can link into the fact that she is actually terrifying and was a lieutenant. So then Rose, when everything happened with the Vizards and they all left, being his lieutenant, it would make sense that she would be the next person to have stepped up into that captain's role, and probably held that captain's role until Gin took over the third division.
And do we ever find out why Gin took over? Like, what happened to her?
No. But I'd like to think it's like maybe she wanted to spend some more time with her son or something. Maybe she just retired of old age or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because Yamamoto's a great example of that. I'm pretty sure they've got great pensions in the Soul Society.
Because there's another guy as well. If we talking about this, if we remember Sentaro from the 13th division,
Mm-hmm.
his dad was also a lieutenant in that era, and he was the lieutenant of the 7th division. So that's two parents of characters we see in this generation who we haven't seen since there's Turn Back the Pendulum.
Wow.
So Quincy's. It's because I was looking at the page and that name popped out. So Soul Reapers can retire, or maybe they die and never get mentioned again. We'd like to think they retire.
Yeah, let's.
It's much nicer and wholesome.
Yeah, that's much nicer. Let's just pretend that they had a retirement. And who knows, like, because was she part of a? They're not a noble family, are they? They're just a. Or are they part of a noble family? They're not part of one of the noble
They're not.
families, but
Yeah,
are
they're
they?
not the noble family, but they could be. They're probably like say Kira noble, because Kira, Lieutenant of Third, he's from a noble family.
Oh,
But he's
I
not
love
like.
Kira.
But he's not like the noble family, so it's probably like middle nobility with the Karakus and the Okatakis and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, see this watch through that we've done, right? See, because Kira was a character I didn't give a shit about really before. Like, there was a lot of characters I could say that about, but this watch through, like, the way that he and Renji introduce themselves to each other, like, he's very proper and he's like, nice to meet you, and he holds out his hand and stuff. And Renji's just like, I fucking grew up in the slums. What you doing? Put your hand away, fight me. It's. I love the dynamics between the characters. It's so good. And yeah, so you can see that in him, how he's been raised, that he's a bit more prim and proper, isn't he?
Yeah.
And in the manga, like that manga and anime difference where it's Rukia and Renji were sleeping in a tree beside his parents' grave or something, and he just falls out the tree. It's just phenomenal. It's so good.
It's so good.
Are we okay to take a detour into the whole Renji thing then? Because I have.
Yeah, let's do that. It's not a detour, it's a segue because
It's a segue. Yeah, we were talking about Renji and stuff. So, this is actually from somebody in our server called JK. So she goes by JK, and she's actually joined Club Outside, which is the TYBW Kubo sort of fan club that he's put together. But I've heard that in order to join, you need to have like Japanese details, so like a credit card or something. But she's managed to join, and well, we were chatting in the server a while ago, so this is back in March we were chatting, and I've got her post here. And I'm just going to read it out because I think that her words say it better than I probably could. Well, first of all, tiny bit of background context. We were all talking about Renji and Rukia's relationship, Ichigo and Rukia's relationship, Orihime and Ichigo's relationships, Renji's characterization, Orihime's characterization, all of that kind of stuff. All that good stuff that doesn't cause any divides in the fandom.
Yeah.
At all. Ever. Never. Nobody is divided by
it's
this.
nice. It's always civil conversations, and we're just all chat.
Always. Yeah. Every single time, yeah. The good thing is that in our server, it kind of is, because
it is.
We keep it that way. We keep it quite, like, just keep it mindful, guys. Just be mindful. But anyway, on the back of this discussion, she jumped in and she says, I just wanted to chime in and say that you aren't the only ones who feel this way about the Renji and Rukia and Orihime characterizations. I joined Club Outside, and one of the Q&A questions Kubo answered was something along the lines of, do you feel like the anime changed the nature and distance between relationships from your vision of how they really were? And his response was, yes, I watched up until the Arrancar arc without saying anything and thinking the way this is going is not going to be in line with the ending. So starting from the Arrancar arc, I insisted on oversight of the anime. So
it's since reading that, it's something I'm definitely going to be paying a lot more attention to in this watch through when we come to the Arrancar arc.
Yeah.
is seeing the relationship between those four characters and how much of an oversight and how much Kubo actually inputted into the way this is going to work.
I can already tell you there's substantial difference.
Mm.
Because we had this discussion, so this was a comment that JK left in our server on the 15th of March. And because I've been watching it through with Swift in the server, I was paying attention to this. So I was already partway through with obviously the podcast, and I'd already had several Orihime rants, just in case
Mm-hmm.
anybody missed them, you know.
Oh,
Um,
you'll have to give us another one day.
right, I know, like I've clearly not had enough of them, because this was the first time that I was reading the manga at the same time. Like the last times that I've watched Bleach, I've just watched Bleach the anime. I've never read the manga,
Mm-hmm.
and this time I'm reading the manga alongside watching the anime. And I could see the difference in, especially for me, Orihime's character. And maybe the reason why she stood out so much to me was because I am a woman. I relate more to her. And so I've seen how much the anime has butchered her character. So I was raging with like what had happened to her character. And when I was reading the manga, I was like, I can't believe this isn't how she is at all. So when I was like reading this comment from JK, I was like, I'm going to pay more attention to Renji now as well, because I hadn't really paid that much attention to him. And now I'm seeing it's not just Orihime. It's not even just Renji. Uryu, I'm noticing it with Uryu as well. That these characters have been warped and changed, and without any oversight from Kubo. And Kubo said there, like watched up until the Arrancar arc. So starting from like pretty much where we are now
Mm-hmm.
onwards is when we're going to notice the changes happening, because we're going to be skipping out all the canon, the non-canon filler. Starting from the Arrancar arc onwards, we're going to notice a big change in these characters. And honestly, yeah, Orihime still has her moments, like they have to just remind us, yeah, here's a little bit of how ditzy she is, but they have really toned it down. I think, yeah, it was just one point I really wanted to bring up. I thought it was important to bring up here. So for anybody that didn't know any of that, because probably a lot of people didn't, because like a lot of people in the server were talking about how, they'd heard that Kubo wasn't that happy with how
Mm-hmm.
things were going in the anime, and now I see it. Now I can see it, and I can see his
Yeah.
influence going forward as well. So we've got that to look forward to.
Yeah. And not everyone's going to have access to that outsider knowledge, if you pardon the pun, that we have. So.
Yeah, I like that. That was good. And those were my big points. Question mark. The only other thing, and I think this is something that I've already spoken about in previous episodes, so I really don't want to, you know, teach your granny to suck eggs or flog a dead horse or whatever the sayings are. But like Rukia was pretty much groomed by Aizen effectively to be the
Mm,
perfect person to go because of her history with Kayan, to go and be subjected to Ichigo, and just made her the perfect pawn piece. But
yeah.
once again, that was just sort of tying back into my point of why didn't she use her Shikai? But anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
Aizen did a lot of grooming. It's
he
fine.
did. He
Even
did.
with himself, with the whole hair reveal, definite hairdresser grooming.
I mean, I still want to ask Kubo about the prescription lenses. Like, are they like what happened with that?
He obviously wears contacts.
Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness. But that was pretty much all my points.
Yeah, I think. Oh, do we want to do the last one on the list?
What's the last one?
Because you have always wondered about Tosin's motivation.
Yeah. Can you,
Yeah.
go for it. Please explain a lot of this to me, because I know Dale gave me a little bit, but yeah, I'm open to more.
So this is gonna get finally on the Can't Fill Your Own World novel
Hmm.
that's recently been translated into English. So if you haven't read that, definitely check it out. I'm not going to go into too much details with regards of the spoilers and the actual meat of what that story is about. However, I do want to touch on a little bit on Tosin's motivation, especially for you because you, Lethan, have been curious as to what this whole motivation behind Tosin's is
Hmm.
and why he's doing basically why he defected when he was so loyal. And he does seem like this loyal kind of guy. He's got a lot to he's always on the path of justice, and apparently his path of justice is the same as Aizen's path of justice.
Mm-hmm.
And it ties in a lot with what happened to his friend. So we see in flashback that Tosin had a friend who was a Shinigami
Mm-hmm.
who passed away. That's kind of the story to what we got with that. However, she didn't exactly pass away. She was killed by her husband at the time, and her husband was also a Shinigami. But the thing about that is that her husband got off scot-free due to the fact that he is a noble.
Right.
So that, of course, basically just Tosin's idea of justice completely went out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the very next person he meets after he finds out that the man who killed his wife and the man who killed his best friend, like Tosin's best friend, wasn't going to get punished for this. The very next person he meets is Aizen. And Aizen then starts sympathizing with him and starts saying, you know, I understand where you're coming from. It's not right. Let's team up together and let's put justice on the right path again. So that's a lot of where Tosin's motivation for this has come from.
Wow. Okay, that makes much more sense now. Much more sense. Do you know what this throws into question? Like, because obviously that's canon and that's beautiful and that's how writing should be done. And then you've got the anime department, which decided to release a whole movie about how Toshiro's Zanpakuto was apparently with two people, which, yeah, sure, okay. And then he had to kill his best friend, and then, and then watched his best friend die, and then, and then he still works for the government that decided that this was all okay. Like, so Tozen's background makes sense in all that context. When you've got that background, you've got that context, that all makes sense now. It just, look, if you're going to do a movie, right, can you do it right?
Yeah.
Like, don't ignore the lessons and stuff that we've had in canon. Like, number one, there wouldn't be two Hyorimarus. I have a lot to say about some of the movies. I could probably. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, look, I'm happy we got a movie about Toshiro. I'm really happy with that. I love him. I think he's a great character. I just wish that we'd gotten more, like, canon stuff for him. Like, could they not have just reached out to Kubo and been like, "Hey, Kubo, we fancy doing a movie about Toshiro because he's topped the polls of, like, the best character in Bleach, and we want money. So, like, could you give us more information about this character?" And then,
how he became captain and other things referring to that whole situation with him and Rengiku and somebody else and them, all of that shenanigans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would have been nice. Yeah.
And even if they did want to, even if like Kubo was like, well, actually, that's going to touch on stuff that I'm going to cover in the manga later, and I would rather that be kept a secret. Even if he wanted that, he could have just says, okay, here's like something that could happen in the Soul Society in which we can put Toshiro into, and there you go. Here's some ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for just something. Like they could have had a fucking murder mystery in the Soul Society for all we care about, you know? Like,
yeah. I think Kubo did have some input with, is it Kusaka? Is that his name?
Did he?
Designed. I want to say he did. Or am I confusing it with a filler episode coming up in the Hueco Mundo arc?
Let's have a look. Let me see if I can find it, because it doesn't feel like Kubo had much of anything in that movie, but I could be completely wrong. So, Tite Kubo, author of the Bleach manga, authorised a one-shot based on Toshiro prior to the film's premiere in order to promote it. He was also allowed to participate in the making of the film to design the character of Kusaka. However, Kubo could not add Kusaka to his one-shot due to the fact the original concept came from the manga. In order to promote the second film of Bleach, the trailer had the line "Execute Hitsugaya." Kubo admitted that it was his own idea to make everybody be surprised, but he and then one of the other writers, the the voice actor of Ichigo Kurosaki, received a lot of hate, a lot of letters from worried fans, causing Kubo to apologise in his response. So it sounds like he was a little bit involved, but like, how much involvement is that really?
Yeah.
Because that movie is a plague of plot holes unlike anything I've ever seen.
It's interesting though how much power the anime has over something. And like it's almost as if when they sign the contract to say I give you the rights to animate my manga, my work, it's almost as if they're also signing away their life and their rights and basically any input that they have, and makes you feel kind of bad for the original creators.
Yeah, because it's all very well and fine them saying like, oh, Kubo had input. How much input was that? Was it just the design of Kusaka? Was it just to say, sure, you can do a movie about Toshiro? Like, it could have been minimalistic for all we know. And part of the reason for that is, I mean, look, we see bloody Kusaka somehow infiltrate the Soul Society, which, we had to watch Ichigo get shot out of a cannon to be able to do. Nobody can just insert themselves into the fucking Soul Society. And then we see him take down Kuraku. Like, I just. No. I can't see Kubo being okay with any of that. But
Yeah.
who knows? For all I know, I could be talking out my arse, but I just think there was a lot wrong. Not just with that movie. I'm picking on that one. That's a shame. There's a lot wrong with all the movies for Bleach. But
I have so many issues, mainly with
Fade to Black.
yes.
Yeah.
That's my big bugbear, is Fade to Black.
Yeah, that's I've got nothing else. I've had my rant.
Yeah. No, I've got nothing else either.
Nothing else for just now. I think it's because in the last couple of episodes we could really discuss in depth about Aizen and everything like that, rather than speculating. So we've already discussed a lot of the major key points.
Because we had it was an end of a season, but it was the end of a big season, and a lot of plot points got tied up, a lot of things happened. And I mean, you could honestly just watch the first 3 seasons standalone and then just live in perfect bliss that, Aizen, because he's taken his glasses off when he goes into Hueco Mundo, just falls off into the abyss because he can't see where he's going, and and that's the end of that, and everyone lives happily ever after. So,
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. That's so funny. Oh, I like that. Yeah, usually when I tell people to watch Bleach, I tell them watch the first 3 seasons and then stop.
And if you're wanting to get into Bleach but you're not sure, stick around till at least the second season.
Yeah, like skip the.
Don't judge it on just the first 3 episodes.
Sorry, first 3. Did I say first 3 episodes?
No, you said seasons.
Okay,
but I was going on and saying don't just stop after watching like 3 episodes. Keep going until the second season at least.
Absolutely. You've got to give something a fair shot. Like, for example, if you're watching a TV series, you can't just judge it off of the first episode or 2. And TV series tend to be hour-long episodes. You really want to give something like that, like 2 or 3 episodes before you jump off. And anime, because they're only 20 minutes, you really want to give them like 7 or 8 or 9 episodes to really decide if it's for you or not. But certainly I say first 3 seasons of Bleach because, yeah, that's where it's at. And I mean, look, I would love to see Bleach completely redone, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood style, where they just go right back to the beginning and they just redo it all and they correct the pacing issues, they correct the filler, they correct the fucking characterization issues.
Yes.
They, correct everything. I would love to see that. And then we get it all in HD. I would love that.
Yes.
But I doubt that's what's going to happen.
No.
Anything else for anything else, or will we?
I think we can move on, yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, that brings us into delving into the manga. Have we got anything?
We do.
Yay!
So the Bleach Bleach Blu-ray set 11 is available to pre-order right now with Viz Media. It releases on the June 29th, but you can pre-order it. And then the Bleach Brave Souls and Spirits Are Forever With You collab goes live on Monday, the 31st of May. So by the time you're reading this, it will have gone live. And as a reminder, Spirits Are Forever With You is about an Arrancar who bears a striking resemblance to an Arrancar we haven't met yet, called... hang a sec. Because I pronounce this differently than everyone else's. I'm going to call him Cesar Laporo.
Okay.
A notorious criminal who has escaped from prison. And then there's a group of Arrancar children called Picaro, Kenpachi Zaraki, and the members of Squad 11 and Don Kanoji, the century's premier spiritualist, all converge on Karakura Town in order to capture and eliminate an elusive skull-faced woman. So this is set after the Winter War, and during the time skip, we get some backstory with regards to Squad 11 and different Kenpachis. And yeah, we're actually getting... It's going to be in the game Bleach Brave Souls, but it will be the first time we get some kind of almost official translation to this into English, which I think is what I'm most looking forward to. Because I've read the fan translations, but having an almost adapted official English translation is going to be really exciting.
Yeah. And that's nothing against fan translations. It's just, it's nice to know that it's official and it's been signed off.
Yeah.
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 That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Now I can see why everybody's starting to chat a lot more about Bleach Brave Souls in the server. I think the hype for it started to increase again.
Yes, yeah. The last collab they did was Can't For Your Own World. So
awesome.
I'm hoping, because that collab brought about the English translation of the actual novels available in America and the UK. So I'm kind of hoping it does the same for all the other translations, all the other novels as well. It'll be nice to get Spirits of Forever With You actually hard copy translated. I Do Not Always Love You and Death in the Strawberry as well. They would be really nice ones to get translated and actually have like physical hard copies of them.
That will be good. I need to sit down and I need to force myself to read these novels because I still haven't done it yet. I've got them sitting there. I've got the Character for Your Own World sitting there, but I've just not read it yet.
Maybe they'll get animated. You know, after they've done with Thousand Year Blood War, maybe they'll just go ahead and animate the novels as well, because that would be amazing.
That would be great. That would be great. And is that us for delving into the Dangai?
Yes.
Awesome. That brings us into our Shinigami Cup Peroxide Edition. So as this is a spoiler episode, we do slightly different sections for this one. So we're going to start with our best forecasted, which is a moment of foreshadowing or interest or excitement that has been shadowed for forthcoming that you're most excited about. What have you got?
I've got how Urahara plays into all this, because of course we had the kind of name drop of Urahara last season with Ichigo being working for Urahara. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see how all that plays out, how the Hogoku plays into effect, and what all that foreshadowing is about.
Yours is actually, I put 2 down, and I'm glad I did, because that was actually one of mine was like similar. It was like, we know Urahara and Yoruichi left, we know they've got a history with Aizen and the Hogoku and stuff. I wanted to see all of that play out. But one of my other ones that I've got was the, at the end where we've seen the foreshadowing of Aizen rising up. And of course the Menos Grande coming to take him away. I'm like, how did he even establish a relationship with them? How much work has he done behind the scenes? That is all something that I'm looking forward to seeing going into the next. And I know that's stuff we spoke about in this episode as well. But very excited for that. And then we come into Flower Crane Head Cannon, supplied us by none other than Kukaka Shiba herself, expert in all cannons, heads or otherwise. In which case we each share a head cannon. So what's yours, Nomi?
My head cannon is that Aizen doesn't actually have a Bankai. He just made everyone believe he has a Bankai just so he could get captain.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's completely not true because it's completely out of character for Aizen because he wants to be the best at everything, so he probably would have gotten Bankai. But it's just a fun little headcanon I have that he just used his Shikai to make everyone believe he has Bankai just so he could become captain.
That's so funny. That's amazing. Mine's is softer than that, I think. Very much a headcanon. Is that Rangiku got her scarf from Toshiro. Her pink scarf. And it's because when we, later down the line, when we see them meeting for the first time, she's only got like this little neck tie thing. She doesn't have her full pink scarf. And I am a firm believer, my headcanon is that, like, Toshiro got her pink scarf and she got Toshiro his green teal thing that he uses to tie Horimaru around his back with.
Aww.
And potentially for a birthday or something. Maybe when they were feeling lonely and they needed company.
Aww, that's
Which will
so
make
cute.
more sense when we come into 1,000-Year Blood War, but until
Yeah.
then, like, you know, it's fine.
Aww.
That's my headcanon.
Yay.
And then
That's cute.
and then we've got the Premonitions in the Rain. So now that we've rewatched some of the anime, which memorable moments are we most looking forward to watching in the upcoming season that we're about to do?
So mine is Gein's motivation and basically just more Gein ran. Because we saw a little bit of it towards the end of the season, so that's going to be my premonition. Is that I think there's going to be a lot more to them too than meets the eye.
I thought you would have picked something to do with the Vizards, because I don't think we get much Gein ran in the next season, do we?
No, I know, but I've used Vizards a lot. I didn't want to hop on too much, but Vizards, who are they? Yeah, you know. Yeah.
All right, fair.
I'm excited for Shinji. Shinji.
You kept it pretty toned down this episode. I genuinely thought I was going to get a lot more of that.
I haven't given you my turn back the Fandullum yet, so you know.
Oh, right, okay. I'm waiting for it. So my premonition in the rain, I am really, and it happens at the end of the next season we're about to watch, like excluding filler, it happens right at the very end. There is a really outstanding few moments of a Rukia and Orihime friendship that I am very excited to watch and discuss on the podcast about their
That was me
dynamic.
just realizing it. Yes. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to because it gives us so much insight into Rukia's character as well, which is I'm all here for. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's cute.
And then we come in to turn back the Fandullum, which is basically our fandom show. It's our fandom show.
It's our fandom shout out.
It's our fandom show. What's your fandom shout out?
So mine is so some of you may know, some of you may not know that two of my favorite characters are Shinji and Momo.
No,
I know, right?
No,
it's not as if I ranted and was passionately talking about how much Momo deserves to be loved in a couple of episodes back, but yes. Shinji and Momo are two of my favorite characters, and I have shipped them. It's always been in the back of my mind that they would be a cute ship. They're therapy buddies, they do well for each other. But it wasn't until I started reading these fics by the author LameAssFan on AO3.
Wait, LameAssFan?
Yes.
I love it already. It's such a great name. Sorry, do continue.
That I really started getting involved with the ship, and I mean, this person is great. We've been speaking behind the scenes. We're working on a collab together. It's Wicked Tuna in the server. For those of you who are in a server, definitely go check out her fics because they are amazing, and they've really given me the passion to really delve into Shinji and Momo even more than I love them already, and it's just kind of renewed my love for the series, my love for them, and it's just been a really great, wholesome opportunity. And I'm really excited to work with them as well.
Were you the person then that invited Wicked Tuna to join the server?
Yes.
Oh, right, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait a minute, let me go and have a look at her introduction, because I think she mentions us, and I've just pulled it up and it's like, how did you hear about us? Someone invited me.
Yeah.
That'll be you then.
Yeah, we were talking in comments, and we were just commenting on each other's fics. And I was like, well, you know what? I'd love to talk to you even more. Why don't you come and join our server? So
yay! Shout out to Wicked Tuna.
Yes.
I'm excited to read your fanfiction, actually, because I remember that you were talking about doing the collab for the June challenge that we've got coming up. And I'll admit, these are two characters I don't normally have much association with. So I'm really excited to read them. Actually, I'm really excited to read the story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got a link there.
Yeah, I
To
do.
check
Yeah,
it out.
I was just thinking. I was like, oh wait, I should post the link. Hang on a sec.
Also, just makes it easier
doop,
for me when I'm editing later.
doop, doop. There you go.
Hey, there it is. Your lame ass. A great name. It's just such a great name. Okay, my piece is actually by an artist who Geisha introduced me to. So for anybody who doesn't know, Geisha is the love of my life in the server. Um, this artist is a big shipper of Toshiro and Rangiku, and I know that I'll probably get stick for shipping those two. It's Hitsumatsu as a ship. Don't at me until you've seen Thousand Year Blood War. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, this is like a big ship, and she is very much involved in this ship as well. So she found Geisha through our fan fictions. Me and Geisha wrote a fan fiction that she really, really, really liked. And she did a bit of free artwork for, bless her. She'd done some fan art for it. And this artist is phenomenal. And the reason why I want to call her out isn't because she has the same ship as me, but because of her style is unlike anything I have ever seen before. She has this way with like, I want to say like lighting, but it's like pink lighting. It's really hard to describe. But her name is iz-stardust. So iz-stardust. And you can find her on Tumblr. I think she's on Twitter as well. But one of the pieces that I'm going to be posting just now is got, it really highlights that kind of pink lighting effect that I was trying to mention. So if you go into our show notes, you'll see links to everything that Nomi and I are currently talking about. But she's just got this way of drawing these two that's just so uniquely hers, and I love it.
Oh, it's so good.
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love her stuff. She's got so much of it. She's also done some phenomenal pieces of like spoiler stuff for Thousand Year Blood War, but she's got some other stuff on there. So just like keep in mind if you're going to scroll through her timeline that there might be some Thousand Year Blood War spoilers there, but she has got some outstanding work that isn't just Hitsumatsu. There's other pairings there too.
Yeah. It's just it's so soft as well, and it's so clean, and colors are really vibrant as well. It's just such a good place of art. I love it.
She does something with lighting that is so uniquely her own, and that's why I wanted to give her this shout out. So we've Geisha and I managed to. Well, sorry, I bullied Geisha into bullying her into joining the server. So she is in the server, but she's not as talkative as some of the rest of us are. But she is around. So if anybody wants to gush about her artwork, feel free to tag her in the server. Cool. And I think that's it then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well then, you wonderful souls, that is the end of another episode. If you like what you heard and you want to get involved, you can find us by searching for TheSeireitei on Facebook, Tumblr and Instagram, and TSeireitei on Twitter. Each of these platforms will link you to our fantastically deadly Discord family, where you can chat with us about the show, read fan fiction, take part in creative challenges, and talk anything and everything Bleach. Now, Ichigo and Rukia might reap souls, but we are hoping to reap some 5-star reviews, and that is where you come in. Make like our favourite orange-haired protector and Ichigo to iTunes to rate us, review us, and make us feel like number one. To those of you listening on YouTube, don't forget to be like Chad and give us that good thumbs up. We really appreciate it. On the next episode of the podcast, we are going to be skipping a lot of the filler. And we're going to be coming straight in at the start of season 5, in episode 110, which is reopening of the substitute business, a terrifying transfer student. Wonder who the fuck that is. And episode 111, shock, the father's true identity. Wonder who the fuck that is. But we'll see you souls then. Till next time. Bye.